Hello students, Namaste and welcome in our English classroom. This is the fourth lesson for Unit 1 and we are today going to do some grammar and writing exercise from this unit. Okay students, are you ready students? Okay, then let's now remember some of the things. Okay students, we have some of the things here as the preview to learn in our today's lesson. Okay students, so we are going to do revisions first as we have done previously, and we are going to do grammar second. Okay students, in this grammar second or this second part we are going to do be verbs. Okay students, okay, and then we are going to write a dialogue and see some other writing exercises from this writing section, and we are also going to do completion exercise from writing section. So we are going to complete a form from the writing section, and then we are going to do project work from the book, and then we are going to do some dictionary entry, a kind of exercise from our book that is given at the end of our this unit 1. Okay students, let's begin with some glimpses of previous lesson. So in the previous first lesson we talked about reading exercise that was about reading a job interview, and we talked about vocabulary, and we talked about language structures there, about introducing others, and we learned the words like traffic, finance, department, position, and we talked about experience and part-time and clerk in the reading section. And in our next lesson we talked about pronunciation and speaking, and we did listening exercise, and then from reading second we learned the words like accommodation, registration, applicants, proof, original, and further. Now we are going to revise the previous lesson which we have currently done. The things that we learned in the previous lesson were articles. Now I want to ask you some questions. Do you know articles now? What are the words that are called articles? Can you name them? Yes, you are right. They are a, yes, and an, and the, right. So we also learned what are the nouns or different types of nouns according to countable, uncountable, and we talked about the definite and indefinite articles, and we also talked about consonant and vowel sounds in the previous lesson. Do you remember them? Okay, that's very good. So what do you know about countable nouns? Can you give me some of the words or the countable nouns? Yes, a bag, a dog, a chair. And what are the uncountable nouns? Yes, you are right. They are water, milk, sugar, hair, and so on. And which articles are indefinite and which one is definite? Yes, you are right. A and N are the indefinite articles, and the is the definite article. And consonant, can you just remember the consonant letters? What are they? Consonant letters from A, B, C, D or alphabets? Yes, except A, E, I, O, U. The other letters are consonant letters and they make consonant sounds, and the vowel letters like A, E, I, O, U make vowel sounds like A, E, U. These are the vowel sounds. Okay students, so these were the things that we learned in our previous lesson. Now in today's lesson, as we have already said, that we are going to do the grammar second. This was the first part of the grammar. Now we are going to do the second section of the grammar. In this part we are going to study the sentences with be verbs like am, is, are. Okay students, or is, am, are. Okay, let's study the sentences. I have made the color different with these verbs here. Let's read it aloud. Okay, students? Okay, so let's start with A. Everybody is equal. Everybody is equal. Is everybody equal? To this sentence, we can make a question. Is everybody equal? I am a strong girl. I am not weak. So we can also make a negative with not here. You are hardworking. You are a hardworking student. There is also are here, which is not colored here. And you are not, or you aren't working hard. Okay, we can make contracted form as well. We call it contracted form without O here. We have, apostrophe, this punctuation here. And we also can write separately like are and not for making negative sentence. So another sentence is, he is an honest guy. He is not, he isn't. That's it. Nature is beautiful. And is nature beautiful? Trees are important for us. Are trees important for us? Social workers are the real heroes. Okay, you see here all the pink words here are called verbs in English, or they are also called auxiliary verbs in English. They may come with another verb as well as they may come as the main verb or the single verb in a sentence. For example, here, everybody is equal. We don't have any extra verb. Here, we have is as the main verb here. Okay, students, so we have this list of verbs here to study for today's lesson. We are going to do the exercises and we are also going to learn about these verbs in more detail. Let's have a look at the exercise from this grammar section. Here we have to supply these am, are, or is in this sentences here. We have the sentence like, have you two met each other? Is the question. No, we haven't. Ben, this here. Carol is a name. Carol, this, Ben. So how to introduce is also going on here. Introduction is going on here. So A is introducing another friend. Let's see what we can put here. Do you put is or am or are? Can you guess? So we have here the sentences to supply am, is, or are. So we have to complete, and we also need to look at the negative forms here if required. Okay, students, so let's see here. This is Carol. Okay, students, so when we introduce someone, we say this is Carol, and Carol is also introduced to someone else like Carol, this is Ben. Okay, we say Carol, this is Ben. And they'll say, nice to meet you, Carol. Nice to meet you too, Ben. Okay, so A is introducing Ben and Carol here, and they both say, nice to meet you to one another. Okay, now we have another exercise here, similar exercise here. Where you from, Nitesh? Another dialogue is here. Where you from, Nitesh? So which one is correct? Is or are? Yes, we say, where are you from, Nitesh? And B says, I. With I, we cannot say are or is, right? What do we put here? What do we put? Which B verb comes with I? You're right. I am from Bara. How about you, Ranjita? Kailali. Ranjita says Kailali. How do you know Pemba? Here he says he is my friend from college. Okay, students, so we have supplied the correct be verbs in this part of the dialogues as well. Now let's have a look at the another part of the dialogue here. Is Brad Pitt friends here with the be verb is MR? We can also make a question. Okay, students, so do you know, is Brad Pitt friends? So is MR, we can put them at the beginning of a sentence and make a question. Okay, students, so let's see here. The answer can be to this question, no, he is not, or he isn't in the contracted form. So, and another answer is, he is American. He is American. What about Angelina Jolie? So, we can say here again, making a question here. You can see her question mark. Can you see it? Yes. So, we have to now make it a question by adding the first this be verb like this. Is she American too? Is she American too? Okay, this is how we can make a question. Okay, now yes, she is. Yes, she is. And another is she is American. We can say another answer in another way. Yes, she is American. Now, we have here, look at the two people are here in this sentence, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Friends, there is a question mark here. So we need a be verb here. So which one do we have here? Is it is or are or am? Look at these two people here. For the plural nouns or subjects, we use the plural be verb are. So are Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie friends? Okay, students, here, how do we know are here? Because there are more than one person. Okay, when there are more than one person, we need plural be verb are. Okay, students, so is singular and are is plural be verb. And we have another answer, no, they are not or aren't in the contracted form. They are American. So likewise, we can complete the exercise. This one, for example, you can see the similar question mark here. So you are going to write the be verb here. You are new student. So here with the pronoun, second person pronoun you, we can write are. Okay, we have to write are. Okay, we can also make it the first letter of R capital at the beginning, but I have here the different one. You can make it. And yes, I with noun or pronoun I, we use am, right? Yes, I am. And my sister and I. Which one do you think? Is it am? What do you think? My sister and I am students. Is it right? No. Why? Because there are people. My sister and I. So it is plural verb here. So because the subject is plural, because we have my sister and I in the subject. So we put the Dharara in Kathmandu. So we have only one Dharara, so in Kathmandu. So empty Everest in Bhojpur is empty Everest in Bhojpur is the correct one, right? No, it is not. No, it is not. It is in Solukhumbu. Okay, students, it is in Solukhumbu. So likewise, we can put is MR with the different subjects, for example, a singular subject, plural subject, or the first person pronoun I. So with I, we have one the present be verb, and for others, for singular is, and for plural we have are. So these are the things that we have understood from these examples. Haven't we, students? Okay, that's great. Now let's see some of the things, how they agree with the subject, as we have talked about the subjects. Like we have I as the singular subject, you as the singular subject, and he, she, it. These are singular subject. And first person singular subject I needs am, and second person you needs are, and another one third person is singular he, she, it agrees with is. Okay, it takes is, verb is. So look at here, am, are, is. I am with I, are with you, and is with he, she, it. And for plural, all the subjects like you, we, they all take are or plural verb are as the verb in the agreement. Okay, students, the ways how we can make our sentence. Now let's see in detail be verbs, as we have already talked about, are, is, am, are in the present form, and we have also other forms of be verbs. Let me just remind you some other forms. The other forms can be in present and past forms like be, was, were, being, been are the other forms of be verbs. Okay, students? Now, we also have contracted forms. For example, there, am, his. Okay, these, is, am, are can be contracted, and that can come with an pronoun, and they can be written in short form with only are or with only am or with only is, yes. And here you have to understand that this means they are, this means I am, his means he is, am means I am, there or there means they are. Okay, students, these are called contracted, so you have to now understand it in the sentence. And negative form, as we have practiced, we can use directly not after these be verbs because they are auxiliary verbs. After auxiliary verbs, we can put not for making the sentences negative. Any auxiliary verbs in the sentence can have negative forms with the not right after the what? Auxiliary verbs. Okay, students, for example, let me show you here. Is not, am not, are not, isn't in the contracted, aren't. In the sentence you can say he is not a student, or he is not a policeman, I'm not a bad person, or I'm not a policeman, you are not a singer. Likewise, you add not. Okay, students? Okay, now let's talk about the forms of the question. How we make a question? We can make the question by moving auxiliary verbs is, am, are, or was, were at the beginning of the sentence. For example, let me show you. Let me give you an example here. For example, he is an actor. He is an actor. We can make by moving the this be verbs like is at the beginning of the sentence. Is he an actor? Or another sentence, for example, you are a student. This is a sentence. We have be verb here, so it's very simple. You have to, again, in the similar way, put the be verb at the beginning of the sentence and make the first letter of the word capital, and you have to write the other in the same order. Are you a student? And then you write the question mark to make a question. So likewise, we can make questions from be verbs. And in the similar way, in the past form of the be verbs, we can say, for past of the is, we can say, was he an actor, or were you a student? Likewise, we can also make negatives adding right after this be verbs. Okay, students, these are the things that we need to know about the be verbs. Be verbs are helping verbs. Be verbs are auxiliary verbs. They are very helpful verbs for making questions, for making negatives in English. So, and we also need to know about where to use them appropriately according to the subject. That is the most important thing. Here I have shown you earlier that we have certain relations with the subject and be verb. For example, subject I takes am and you takes are, and he, she, it takes is, they, you, we take, they take are for the verbs or the be verbs. Okay, students, these are the things that we need to learn. And now let's talk about at the end of this first part of our today's lesson about grammar. Let's talk about this first exercise that we did, that we studied. Can you remember what to put here in these empty spaces? Everybody, is or are. What do you think now? Can you pause the video and supply the correct answers here? Please do it. Okay, this is the task for you. You can, I think, do it very easily, because with I it takes am, with everybody or somebody or he it takes is, and with they or trees that they take are for the verbs. Okay, students, so please supply all the correct be verbs here. Sometimes it needs also not here for telling the negative responses. Okay, students, this was about the grammar. Now let's move to the next topic, that is writing from our book. Are you ready, students, now for the next topic? So can you see the question on writing? The question is, suppose you are introducing two of your friends with each other. Okay, you are introducing your two friends, and compose a dialogue that takes place during the introduction. Now you have to compose a dialogue. Okay, until now what we have been doing, do you know? We have been talking about, in the reading sections and speaking and listening, we have been talking about the introducing others. So here we have also the creation, writing exercise for creation of a dialogue for introducing your friends, not introducing yourself, but introducing your friends. Okay, students, so you need to understand that, and then you have to compose a dialogue that takes place during the introduction. Okay, now what we have to do is remember the things. What are the first, important lines to introduce someone? Let me remind you some of the sentences that we have talked about. Is for introducing others, we have learned, like, let me introduce my friend. Here you have to put the name of your friend here. Okay, or you can say another expression is, okay, these are the expressions that you can use. May I introduce Mr. Ram to you. Okay, here another way can be, this is Ram. Okay, you can simply say this is Ram, or you can, another way you can say, hello Rita, meet my friend friend Ram. Okay, these are the ways for adding or for introducing your friends with someone else. Okay, so here this is you. Okay, what we are going to do is, this is the situation, this is you, and you are going to introduce your two friends here. Your friend 1, okay, this is friend 1 and this is friend 2. You know them and but they don't know. Okay, they don't know each other. This is the situation. Okay, students, they don't know each other, but you know them. So you are going to introduce this friend 1 to friend 2, and you are also going to introduce friend 2 to friend 1. So we have to use for these sentences like, let me introduce my friend this, maybe Sita to Rita, or you can say, may I introduce Ram to you? And then they both will have another discussion that can be, nice to meet you, Rita, or nice to meet you, Ram, and they will have another conversation. Okay, so that is how you can compose the dialogue. Can you do that now? Can you use the expressions like let me or may I, this is, hello Rita, and compose your dialogue? Okay, then let me show you the sample to you, how we can compose the dialogue. For example, you can say, A says, Raju, I'd like you to meet my friend Nisa. Okay, B says, another friend. Now, okay, A is introducing here. Suppose you are this A and your another friend is B, and B will say, Nisa, he is my friend Raju. Now, who is going to talk? Now, Raju is going to say, nice to meet you. And B also, Nisa will also say, nice to meet you. And they will have another conversation. She will say, where are you from? And B will say, I'm from Dhankuta. And you? I'm from Bajang, she will say. And B will say, let's keep in touch. And she will have to say, nice meeting you. And they can take a leave by saying, hope to see you again or soon. So here, the first person, those who introduce, will speak once, and the new persons or friends will have the discussion or conversation like this. Okay, students? So in the similar way, please try to introduce your friend and write a dialogue. Okay, now we are going to talk about the next exercise, that is exercise B from writing section. Here, look at the, below is a hotel check-in form. Okay, students, there is a form. I'm going to show you here. This is a hotel check-in form. Means when you enter in a hotel for staying there, you have to fill in the form and complete the form with your own personal information. Okay, students. So you have completed such forms in your school as well for maybe admission, for maybe examinations, haven't you? Have you, completed such forms? Yes, sometimes maybe other vouchers or maybe checks you have seen, and there are informations like names and other purpose. Okay, students, so likewise we are going to fill in this form here. So let's look at here what we have in this form. So the name of the hotel is ABC Hotel, Sundara, Kathmandu, guest registration card as the title here. Now you are going to fill these blank spaces here with your own personal information. So family name, what is your family name or surname? Okay, that's what we call caste in Nepali, or in Nepal we use caste sometimes, and you can understand it as surname. For example, you can be a Magar, Thapa, or maybe Tamang, or anyone, any caste from Nepal. You can write here. I'll give you example as XYZ here. and your name. Give your name here. That is your first name. Maybe Rita, Sita, Hari. You can write here. And your address. Okay. Where are you from? You are from maybe Patan, Lalitpur, or somewhere where you live. And your contact number, mobile number. You have to mention here your mobile number and date of birth. Okay. Date of birth. Here maybe you were born in 2007 maybe. And arrived from, where did you come from? You can say maybe Dhading, Gorkha, or any place that you are traveling from. And traveling to means, where you are going to. Where you are going to means maybe you are going to some temples, maybe you are going to some cities for enjoying your holiday. So it can be Janakpur. And arrival date, when did you come to the hotel? That's the date of arrival. And your time of the arrival can be 4 p.m. in the afternoon. And your departure date means when are you leaving from the hotel. Okay, it can be the next day, probably, most probably. Next day we leave the hotel, and we may leave at 7 a.m. in the morning after tea, right? And we have the signature at the end. So this is how we can fill or complete the forms. This is one of the forms that we may fill in our future travelings. So you need to fill this with your own information. This is the example that I have given to you from my side. Please complete it from this example. Okay, student. Now let's look at the project work from our book. I'll just remind you what is here. You have to get into 4 groups. Make your friends your group, and eco club, dance club, social club, and sports club. Divide your groups into different clubs and work together to prepare a short notice for each club each club. So notice, as we have already seen a notice or read a notice in our previous lesson, that we need to write certain information in a notice. What do we need to write in a notice? We need to write who is giving the notice, and what is your information, what is supposed to do, and what is the time you want somebody to come or do, and what is the date, and who is publishing the notice, and who is the responsible person from that noticing group. Okay, that is the information we provide in the notice. Okay, you can follow the example. And we have another thing that at the end of our unit, we have this dictionary entry. I'd like to remind you a few things, that we have head word, parts of speech, definition, pronunciation, audio as well, and phonetic transcript in the dictionary. Okay, if you have seen dictionary books or even in your online dictionary as well, we have head word. For example, independent. This is the head word, and there is a definition. Yeah, here we have not mentioned here, and synonyms means the similar word, and we have parts of its speech. For example, adjective. Is it adjective? Is it noun? Is it verb? We have, and then we have also sound. We can hear the word's pronunciation, and we have the here word transcription. Like we have different sound symbols here, and then we have examples and meanings, definitions at the end. Okay, these are the ideas how a dictionary looks. Okay, students, these are the information that I would like to remind you from this lesson, and this is the end of today's lesson. We have learned grammar 2, that is be verbs, and we have learned about a dialogue, writing a dialogue, that I have reminded you to some of the expressions that we can use for introducing others, and we have also completed a form, a travel form, and we have done a project, or we have talked about the project work, that is writing a notice, and then we have also seen a picture of a dictionary entry, and you have learned about that. Well, students, thank you very much for staying throughout this video and learning the things from our book. Please keep on learning from watching the videos and keep on doing the exercises from your book. Namaste, and see you again in our next video. Namaste.